Last season's defeat during the playoffs was tough to take for Miami Heat, and they had bigger expectations this season. Fair to say, it hasn't worked out well so far. Alarm bells are ringing in Miami after a below-par start to their campaign. Some believe management is frustrated with Bam Adebayo's inconsistency, and today we'll take a look at that along with a season update from Heat. Let's begin, starting with Heat's frustration with Adebayo. Among the many underperforming players in Miami this season, we have Bam Adebayo. The plan from the front office was simple: keep the band together for another year. They felt that the key players had sufficient talent to go all the way this season. Without making any major moves, and with only PJ Tucker leaving the squad, Heat started this season hoping for the best. Unfortunately, it's been underwhelming so far. They'll need inspiration to turn it around, and one player among many who is expected to perform better is Bam Adebayo. Most analysts believe that the big man possesses the talent needed to become a top 30 player in the league, and on some nights he showcases his talent. It's disappointing when he's not putting in the same performances every night though. The inconsistency is stopping Adebayo from reaching dizzying heights, and as per an NBA executive, team officials aren't satisfied with Adebayo's performances this season. They want to see a more aggressive version of the 25-year-old night in and night out. After all, this is what separates a player from the rest of the lot. Much of this frustration probably stems from the conference finals last season. Adebayo, whenever he did turn up, would be unstoppable against the best defense in the league, the Celtics. That Game 3 performance in Boston was sensational, but then his form dipped, and Heat simply didn't have that energy anymore. As per the Eastern executive, Miami's not okay with Adebayo being only the third best player on their roster. Adding to that, Adebayo has room to improve. It's a little weird to see such comments about Adebayo, who has been the Heat's best player this season. With Jimmy Butler missing out due to injuries, a lot of responsibility has fallen on Adebayo's shoulders. He's had help from Tyler Herro, but Adebayo's been the main man so far. Almost an ever-present figure on the court, the young center's been coming up with more than 9 boards per game. Many believe he's in the discussions for the Defensive Player of the Year award, and he's been pretty good on the other end of the court too. With a 21-point average for the season, Adebayo's producing career-high numbers for points and rebounds both. But that's the thing about him. Given his immense talent, it still doesn't feel like enough. Plus, with the team struggling to put together a solid run, it's not a surprise that Adebayo's getting criticized too. The executive added that the management feels Adebayo has the potential to become the leading figure for Heat's side. They want him to become the number 1 option with Butler's growing injury concerns and Tyler Herro as the third best player. This is hardly a criticism of the center. It's praise, in fact, considering Miami rates him so highly. And despite the statistics, Adebayo could genuinely explode if he keeps on taking more shots and playing more aggressively. And if his performance against the Celtics on Friday was anything to go by, the 25-year-old is listening to the advice. Now, let's take a look at how the Miami Heat players have been performing. Miami Heat has a decent squad, so why are they 9th on the table? We've decided to break it down by taking a look at each player's performance so far this season. First up, Adebayo, Martin, and Strus. We have to start with Adebayo. He's received some criticism of late because he's not been consistent enough. While we discussed that he's been pretty decent, there's still room for improvement. Everyone's seen that offensive jump that was needed. If he can come up with the same defensive numbers in terms of rebounds and steals as last season, there won't be any problems. Of course, he needs to keep shooting as he is. Not to mention, he's on a pretty amazing 4-game run, averaging 30.3 points and over 8 rebounds. Perhaps the biggest takeaway from Adebayo's growth is the fact that he's shooting 62% in the 4th quarter, and also mentioned working on his touch and trick shots recently. The 26 for 30 on free throws in the last quarter is also very impressive. As far as Caleb Martin is concerned, the statistics just don't tell the full story. His numbers might have decreased a little from last season, but he's grown immensely as a player. Martin went on a run of at least 20 points for 3 games in a row for the first time in his career, and he's also doubled his assists from 1.1 to 2.2. It's not much, but justifies the increase in time. Plus, Spoelstra likes what he sees, and Max Strus has been good too. While his numbers are more or less identical to last season, his scoring has jumped significantly. He's gone from 10.6 in 30 minutes to 15.3 in over 34 minutes. Very impressive. Moving on to Jimmy Butler, Haywood Highsmith, and Gabe Vincent. Jimmy Butler's been as good as he's always been. The problem is injuries that seem to be keeping him out, and that's the only issue regarding the star for Miami. He's up in rebounds, steals, and assists, while scoring at the same rate as the last few seasons. But there's been a welcome increase in his three-point scoring, and he made a fantastic return to action in the win against the Celtics. The rise in shooting percentage will be keeping the coach very happy, and now with Butler back, he'll be hoping he enjoys a long injury-free run with the team. Haywood Highsmith's problem was his shooting, and it still seems to be the issue for him. With games coming thick and fast and some injuries within the roster, he's played a lot more than before, so he'll need to contribute on the offensive end too. But if you're talking about defense, Highsmith's your man. Exceptional defensively, and the players he's guarding are shooting only 37.8%. Few players in the entire league are as reliable as Vincent, who's usually thrown into the mix during crunch times, and he always delivers. He's fourth on the roster for fourth quarter minutes and has the best defensive field goal percentage among rotation players. In fact, his scoring, rebounding, and assist numbers are all up. Slightly, but up. Then, Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson, and Dwayne Dedmon. A triple-double Sunday in Atlanta really boosted Herro's numbers. It was the first of his career and shows how far he's come even though he missed 10 of the 13 shots he made. But maybe more importantly, he knew that Spo wouldn't be as happy with his scoring as he'd be with his impact in the rest of the game. And to be fair, he's been doing that really well. Rebounds are up from 5 to 6.5 in the same playing time as before. The assists are down and could improve as he needs to work on his scoring too, even though it might not be the main concern. The shooting percentages are down all across Miami's roster, and Herro's not an exception. Duncan Robinson has improved so much when it comes to creating shots for himself and others off the dribble, but his shooting accuracy has taken a dip, and that's concerning. 37.2 to only 30.6. That's certainly not good enough. Dwayne Dedmon's been pretty bad. The Heat gets outscored by 47 points whenever he's playing, and that's just not good enough. Could be because of his lingering foot injury. Not to forget Kyle Lowry. Lowry's been the scapegoat of the Heat's season so far. It's true that he's not the same player he once was, but he's still putting in a decent shift. The Heat needs more luck with their shooting, and Lowry could do with it too. His field goal percentage in particular is a big concern. It's the lowest since his rookie season back in 2006-07, but the fact that his rookie season was some 16 years ago should tell you that regression isn't a surprise. His assists are down too, but that's mostly because everyone's missing shots. Lastly, Victor Oladipo, Omer Yurtseven, and Udonis Haslem. Only one of these three players has played, and Haslem's on-court role is very limited, so we can't quite say if he's been good or bad. And Yurtseven hasn't played at all. As far as Victor Oladipo's concerned, he's not played at all this season because of his injury. He's close to a return though, after making it to non-contact practice in Boston. His return should also help the team with a much-needed boost. The only takeaway from all this is the Heat need to shoot better, and they need to do it ASAP. That's a wrap for this video. What do you make of the comments about Bam Adebayo? Does he need to improve further, or do other players need to step up for Miami? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.